Hello artists, today we're going to continue working with line and patterns and we're going to create our own stamps. For our process today you're going to need several different tools and materials. First of all, tools, we need some scissors. You need a ballpoint pen, not a gel pen. Or you could use a sharpened pencil, or even those mechanical pencils would work very well for this. Materials you'll need: a styrofoam plate. It could be one of those styrofoam plates that maybe you eat off of when you're picnicking. If you do not have a styrofoam plate, this is like a meat tray, but it wasn't used for meat. It hasn't been used. You could use foam. This is just a piece of foam. They come in all different colors. It's very flexible. If you cannot find styrofoam, you could use the foam. If you have both, you could try both and see which one you like best. I do have a piece of cardboard. It's like card or poster board that I'm going to need if I use the foam board. For the process today, I'm going to start off showing you styrofoam, and then I will show you how to work on foam also. Now, before I get started, this has a lip on it. I'm going to cut that off so that I have one piece. Now, this is going to be like a stamp, and actually it's called printmaking. When you create a plate and then you are able to print over and over again, that's called printmaking, and I'll show you the whole process. For our styrofoam, I have a nice flat piece now, and this is going to be our printing plate. Our plate, I'm going to cut it down. And I created mine this shape because that's the shape I wanted. Yours can be any shape. You could have squares, circles. You just have to cut it out. It could be really small. I chose this shape because I'll be printing on paper that's that size. You can print your little plate on anything you want, but we're not going to make huge plates because one, I'm starting off with a small piece, but two, the larger they are, the harder it is to print them. So I am starting with a small plate. And if I were using the the foam, I'm going to get the same size, and you start the same way, just cutting your shape for your stamp or your plate. Now, with our lines, we've talked about many different types of lines, and we've gone over many different types of lines. You can use your pencil or you can use your pen, either one. I'm going to start with the sharpened pencil. We're going to create some type of pattern. It doesn't have to be the whole thing one pattern. We can break it into parts. I'm drawing softly right on the plate. The cool thing is I've got more. If I make a mistake, I can just grab some more. I'm just drawing some light lines, straight lines. I've drawn it soft first, and then I go back and make it darker. And see, you can see it now. So draw your lines soft first, and then make it darker. Your patterns, you're just going to use all those different types of lines we talked about and create some kind of interesting design or pattern. You can use the straight lines we've talked about. I'm making little dots. I did that kind of soft, so I'm going to go back and make those darker and push down hard into the styrofoam. With the styrofoam, it's pretty easy to get down in there and make some nice thick lines. So with the dots, I'm just pushing all the way down in, not too hard because I don't want it to go through the back, but I'm just pressing down as I go, making little dots. And this is just a pattern that I created. Straight line, dots, straight line, dots, straight line, dots. Remember, patterns repeat. So now I need something on this other part. You're going to find drawing it soft first and then going back and making it darker or pressing down harder is going to be easier than trying to do it all at one time. This is something you cannot really rush with, because if you do, you will mess up. If you make a huge mistake, remember I had extra. If you have extra, you can go back and try again. If you make a huge mistake, if you make a little mistake, just keep going. Don't keep starting over again, because if so, you'll never get it done. Now I have my styrofoam. It's done. I've filled it all in with lines and patterns. All right, so for the styrofoam, I'm going to use a pen because it's easier to press down hard on this pen. It won't break as easily as a pencil. If you notice, sometimes when I press down, this pen is not a good working pen. So sometimes it's not going to draw on it at all. What it does is it's just digging down into the foam. I've just drawn a frame around it just because I just wanted that. You don't have to have a frame around it. But we're going to do the same thing on this one using the pen. We're going to just draw your patterns. We're talking about lines, but you can add some circles too. So now I have my circles, I have my lines pattern, I filled it in. Again, I've got my styrofoam and my foam. I'm going to take my foam board. Remember I said it's a little flimsy, so I'm going to put it on some cardstock. This actually is like a poster board. I'm just going to put a little glue on the back, press it down and let it dry. Okay, now my stamp has had time to dry so that the foam is attached to the cardboard, poster board paper. And then I still have my styrofoam. And now I'm going to need my markers. We're going to use the markers for the ink. That's going to be the part that gives the color. When you add the color, I suggest, we've talked about this before, using the side of the marker to cover a larger space, because you kind of want to work kind of quickly so that the ink does not dry, but you also want to work quickly and not get down in those little cracks that you've created. Now you can use one color, you can use two colors, as long as you work quickly. You don't want it to dry. So work quickly, have your paper ready to stamp it onto. I'm going to kind of do a little overlapping of my colors here. Ooh. Be careful to hold it by the side, so you're probably going to get a little bit on your hands, but it will wash off with these markers. And you can see I just kind of overlapped a little bit here and there. Got my paper right here that I'm going to print on. I've covered everything. You can see it a little bit better now. You can see the parts that are not covered in ink are actually the parts that I pressed down with the pencil. I'm going to put it over on top of my paper, and I'm going to press it down flat. Make sure to get the edges. You don't have to press real hard, but you do need to press it. And try really hard not to let it slide back and forth or move. And then ta-da! I got a nice little print. It's hard to see with this lighting. Today my lighting's having trouble. Now I can either use this again. I can go ahead and take a wipe or a paper towel or something and clean it off. I think I'm actually going to do it again and see if I can get it better around the edges. See how some of the edges didn't show up on this one very well? So I'm going to just try it again. I'm laying it down on the side, rubbing over it. I want my colors to kind of mix. And you want to have a good amount of paper ready so that you can try your stamp or stamps over and over again. Make sure to get the edges, and that might be what happened. My finger might have taken some of the ink off. See how I got it on my fingers? And that might be why my edges didn't show up very well. So I'm going to make sure I get those edges real good. I overlapped a little bit more color this time. Got my paper, flip it over, press it down, make sure I get my edges. Don't want to press down too hard because I don't want to mess up my styrofoam. And then ta-da! Kind of like it. Very cool. All right, now again, when you're done with this, go ahead and clean it up so that you don't mess up your styrofoam. You use your stamp over and over again, or your plate, I should say, your printing plate. And here's the other one that I did with the foam. Again, you can put your ink where you want it. This one I really have to work quickly on because I don't want the ink to dry into the foam. And ta-da! My colors didn't blend too good, so let me try it again. Let me do all blue this time. And see, I got another stamp. Kind of streaky, but still a cool pattern. So now I have created all these little stamps, all these little prints, because I printed each one with my printing plate. And now I can leave them like this. I did mine on 2.5 by 3.5 inch paper so that they're the right size to be artist trading cards. With artist trading cards, I can trade these now with my friends. I can take some gel pens, some different markers and things, and I can add details to them to make them even more unique. You do not have to do this. This is just an option. So now you can see here's my print that I added some ink to. I drew some lines and some more patterns to make things show up a little bit more. You do not have to do that. That's just an option. If you would like to do several different types, that will be fine because you can use your printing plate over and over again to create different colors, different patterns with the colors, and different prints. So I cannot wait to see your prints that you've created on Artsonia. If you create several different prints and you would like to upload several different pieces, that's fine. If you're having trouble uploading to Artsonia still, just please send me a message, an email, and I will get you straight. And I'm excited and can't wait to see your artwork. Bye.